Welcome to Golf Channel Academy. I'm Brandel Chamblee, and we're alongside 12-time PGA Tour winner, major champion, player of the year 1987, Paul Azinger. Paul, great to see you. Nice to spend some time with you.
It's good to be here.
Paul, we all have a debt of gratitude to our teachers. Your first teacher, Dr. Jim Suddy, introduced you to John Redmond. They broke you down completely. What did they tell you to do?
Well, I'll tell you what, the first time I ever saw my swing on film, and Doc Suddy was ahead of his time, sequence cameras and all that stuff back in 1978, 79. And first time I saw my swing on film, I said, "How's that look, Coach?" Kind of confident, you know. He goes, "Well, Paul, you're across the line, you're past parallel, you're on your left side at the top, got no leg action, and your club face is dead shut." I was like, "Where do we start, Coach?" So, and you know, that was it. And he says, "Let's start with some leg action," and that's what I did. He used to, you know, at night I'd get up against kind of the wall. I'd get, you know, at the door jamb or whatever in front of the door, and I'd get my left leg, my left foot against the wall, and I would go like this and just slam my left leg, my left knee into that wall, and I wouldn't make a full swing, and I would do this and just keep doing that to where I could get my left leg to move the right direction. And that was kind of how it all started. Both Suddy and Redmond accepted my grip and taught around my grip, and they accepted the fact that the club face was dead shut. You know, there's really been a bunch of good shut face players, but it's just a different way to go at it. You just got to go at it differently. I released the club knuckles up. I probably shortened my swing significantly. I used to see the driver at the top of my backswing in my left eye. And I got to where I had some movement. I was no longer on my left side at the top of the backswing. So all that happened, Brandel, and you know, all of a sudden I started hitting the ball really well. I won a few tournaments in college, and then I got my card my first try, and I kept losing my card, but then finally in 1984 I won tour school, and then from that point on I just got better and better.
That transformation is one of the most amazing stories I've heard in golf. When you met John Redmond, you had never broken 70. 3 years later, you were on the PGA Tour. 5 years later, you were Player of the Year in 1987, as I alluded at the top of the show.
Yeah.
You talked about what Suddy did with you. John Redmond, now, I've read his book. He talks about light grip. He talks about having a natural backswing.
Yeah.
He talks about swinging in a barrel. Are these all things that initially he threw at you?
Oh yeah, for sure. And he taught me how to shorten my swing with my wedges. I started to hit wedges. You know, if you want to try to shorten your golf swing, you can't start with a driver. So John was a real hands-on guy. He would get in front of me, and as I held the club like this, he would take me to the top and put me in a position, and I could feel where that was, and I could duplicate and put that there. He'd get behind me, and he'd hold my hips, and he would, I guess, watch my backswing, and as I got to a certain spot, he would start me back down, and he would, you know, he wasn't sliding my hips, he was turning my hips like this. You know, if you had a hula hoop around you, you know, you can do this, make a circle around yourself, and you can see that circle. And what I would do is I would hit balls, and I would try to never let my left hip hit that circle. As much as I moved off it, my right hip would never hit that circle on the ground. It'd be like as I was standing in an apple barrel or something like that.
So they didn't talk to you about your grip, didn't change your grip. Everything you've said so far, they're lower body conscious, made you lower body conscious.
Yeah, big time lower body conscious. My goal was to try to get my left hip cleared out of there as fast as I could with a relaxed grip, let my arms and hands carry the message. You know, that was the thing. But you know, here's the real key in golf. If I'm going to draw a line right here, Brandel, maybe I should go this direction against the grain or something. Okay. There we go. If every good player, if you put that golf ball on the line, when they make a swing, every good player's divot's on this side of the line. Every poor
and they do that with weight transfer, right?
That's right. Every poor player's divot is on this side of the line because they're falling back. And so if you watch this, when I make this swing, my divot comes off in front of that line. Every player on tour's divot is on this side of the line. And if you can get your divot over there, you can begin to hit a draw or a hook. I would bet you that 99.99% of the golfers who've ever played golf for a living fought a hook at one point in their life, but they all learned how to hold it off.
But now wait a minute now, because a lot of people these days are just sitting up to the ball and going, well, wait a minute, okay, if I got to get my divot in front of that line, I'm just going to hang left, stay left, and I get my divot in front of that line.
Yeah, but it's a game of opposites, isn't it? I mean, generally it's a game of opposites. If you're hung left and stay left, the tendency to get the ball up in the air is to want to fall back to do it.
They didn't teach you that. Suddy and John Redmond, you were moving off the ball and moving into it.
I moved both ways. A guy like Jimmy Ballard would confirm that. Every great player's loaded into their right side, and they spring that shaft like they're trying to square an axe to a tree. And when he said that to me, it was like, you know, I worked with everybody, man. I worked with You name an instructor that you've heard of, I've probably spent some time with that fella. But the idea of squaring that axe to a tree, you would never fall back doing it. When Jimmy said that to me, that made so much sense. And that's the idea, except when you square the axe, you get that one result. But when you hit that golf ball, you get that second result. And the tendency is to want to lift it, and that's where the trouble starts.
So much to cover in a 30-minute show. We're going to get more into the swing in a few segments. But in the next segment, when we come back, he's going to talk about the fella that made the biggest difference in his career, a fella by the name of Mac. He called him Crazy Mac. Don't go away.
A thing of beauty.
I think Crazy Mac would love that one. When you say Crazy Mac in the game of golf, a lot of people might think of Mac O'Grady. I'm not talking about Mac O'Grady. I'm talking about a man, family friend of the Azingers, who made a difference in your life. There was a before and an after he said something to you. What was it?
Well, I mean, Mac never played golf. Mac took on all
Mac
comers.
McKee, right?
Mac McKee took on all comers in a traveling circus at one time.
In
I mean, he
fights?
was a tough guy. He would fight him in the ring. He'd take on all comers. And I really didn't like Mac at first. He and his wife helped my wife a lot when she was young. And he said to me, he said, you know, I don't know anything about golf, but I can make you a better golfer. I'm like, how?
Right.
And I actually, he said golfers weren't athletes at one time, and I was so mad I told Tony I'd never go back over there. But Mac was into this, you know, he studied gymnastics, and he studied what these Germans did, and he was ahead of his time mentally, and he was all about the visualization thing. And when I finally went back over there and he sat me down, he handed me a chain with a ball on the end of it. And I've got my elbow on a table, and I'm holding this ball. I'm holding this chain. Ball's hanging down about this far, and he says, imagine there's a saucer underneath that ball. He says, you hold the chain. He says, now I want you to visualize that ball going around that saucer. Now I'm holding the chain, and I want Mac to fail because I don't like Mac. But I started to visualize that ball going around that saucer. And I'm not kidding, Brandel. I'm holding it, and all of a sudden that ball started swinging, and it's going around in a circle like this. Then Mac pulled out a pencil, and he put the pencil underneath that ball that was swinging in a circle, and he says, I want you to see that ball going back and forth like this. He pulled the pencil out, and that ball, it stopped swinging like this, and all of a sudden it's going back and forth like this, and I'm holding it, and I just dropped the chain, and I said, you tell me whatever I need to hear, I'm in. And I really went hardcore into the whole visualization and almost progressive relaxation, the deep breathing, controlling my heart rate. Tom Watson said he didn't learn how to win until he learned how to, you know, slow down his heart rate, learn how to breathe a little bit. And at that phase in my career, 1984, is when I started to delve into that.
You talk so much about these breathing exercises. Explain those to our viewer.
Yeah, for me it was real important to stand behind the shot, pick a trajectory I wanted to hit the ball on, and I would breathe in 4 counts real slow and breathe out 4 counts real slow, and then I would obsess trajectory. And my swing thoughts were pretty basic, you know, arms relaxed, turn level, lower body first was my downswing thought, let it release. But I tried to release on a trajectory that I pictured. And I think it really helped me, Brandel, to bring everything in like this. And I played the course in my head at night. And, you know, I just really obsessed the game of golf after I met Mac in a completely different way. I wasn't so bound up by technique, you know, that I was handcuffed in any way. I began to become a freed up golfer, somebody with the willingness to release and the willingness to see the picture in my mind and then try to duplicate it.
I read about you coming down the backstretch, back 9, when you won the PGA Championship in 1993, and you were using those breathing techniques en route to that victory. Take us through one shot. You're on the back 9 of the PGA, 1993. You've got that, what, 8 or 9 iron into the 17th green.
Yeah, that's a good one, on the 71st hole.
That's right.
And actually the second playoff hole were 2 shots where there were short shots, and I hit great shots when it mattered most. And I can remember at the PGA I had gotten dehydrated. It was hot on that Sunday, and I was starting to get cramps. But I remember how hard my heart was hitting my chest, and I could actually, my eyeballs were, it was getting a flash, and I didn't know, like, oh my God, you know, is this what choking feels like? But I think it was a combination of being dehydrated and the immensity, the enormity of the moment to me, the significance of the moment. And so I slowed my heart rate down. I was conscious of my walking pace. I mean, these are the things, you have to trick yourself a lot of times, if you're not in contention all the time, to be able to pull it off.
Walk us through one shot with a little bit of Mac McKee.
Well, my thinking really when I'd get behind the shot and I would see the trajectory, breathe in 4 counts real slow, I'd be real quiet, but in 4 counts real slow, out 4 counts real slow, and then I'd walk in. And then my swing thoughts were stance slightly open, arms relaxed, turn level, and then my downswing thought was lower body first before I drew the club back. Let it release.
They say golf's 90% mental at the highest level. At the level you played it certainly was. But when we come back, we're going to talk about that other 10%, specifically the transition and how the body moves. Don't go away.
He'd always say, relax your grip, you know, so, and he would just take me and he'd put me at the top where he wanted me, and he wanted that cup in my left wrist. That was the big key. It's important to concentrate and practice with a purpose, I feel. If you do happen to hit the sweet spot, but you have no real memory of what you were thinking or what you just did, you kind of just wasted. You just wasted what you just felt. You know, I really try to focus on what I'm trying to do within the swing, within reason, so that if I do happen to execute a good one, I can try to repeat it.
Welcome back. We're with Paul Azinger. We're going to get a little deeper into his backswing in a minute. To get a little deeper into what's going to help you, perhaps you could go to golfchannel.com, or better yet, just download Golf Channel Academy app. Paul, let's talk about the specifics of how you got from your backswing to your downswing. I've heard you say that you started thinking about going towards the target with your lower body before you ever got to the top of your backswing.
Yeah, my downswing thought happened before I drew the club back, Brandel. I would think lower body first, and that was my downswing thought as I brought the club back. The only thing I tried to do when I took the club back was make sure that I retained this cup. I didn't want to let that go away. So I start with a cupped grip, and I wanted to maintain a cupped grip at the top of my backswing. I was always dead on plane. You know, and you want to get over here, hold on a second, I'll show you on plane, off plane.
Yeah.
Just check this out real quick. John would grab me, John Redmond would grab me, and Suddy would video this so I could always see it, but John would always grab me and say, I want you here, not here, not here. And he would just, you know, relax. He'd always say, relax your grip, you know, so, and he would just take me and he'd put me at the top where he wanted me, and he wanted that cup in my left wrist. That was the big key. And so if I was cupped, off I went. I just cleared my lower body and off I went.
He would want you to stand the shaft up, right? I mean, did it feel like you were standing the shaft up?
No, I never felt that. It was one of the things that he told me that I kind of always pitched.
Okay.
You know, and
Gotcha.
I think that in order, if you want a great lesson, you have responsibility to take a hold of that lesson.
Yeah.
It's up to you to communicate with the guy who's feeding you information.
Right.
You have as much of a responsibility of making a lesson work as the guy who's trying to give you the information. Because sometimes they have to guess.
Right.
Let's face it.
Yeah.
But you can throw things out that you know will never work, and you can grasp things and try them and see if they work. But I know this, if it doesn't work quickly, then it's probably he's telling you wrong. I mean, that's advice that a lot of guys are going to be critical of, but you know, that's the real reality. If a guy is going to fix you, he should be able to fix you pretty quickly, unless you need an overhaul. If, for example, you're across the line at the top, and he's telling you how to get across the line, but you keep getting across the line, he's probably telling you the wrong way to do it.
Right.
That's the way I think.
So you,
or either that or you're just not capable of doing what he's telling you.
So you worried about the cup in your wrist.
Yeah.
You rehearsed getting to the right spot.
Yes.
But your transition was initiated by the lower body.
And my transition happened in my mind before I even drew the club back, because John Redmond believed that what set the club at the top was the return of the lower body. Hogan used to actually clear the left hip first. The left hip went back. Byron Nelson wanted to plant his left heel because his left foot came off the ground. That was his downswing. And Sam Snead was thinking that it would be the heel, the hip, and the shoulder. All three would come down at the same time. So really, you know, again, golf swings are like fingerprints. They're all different. And if somebody says you my way or the highway, take that highway.
But the commonalities of the best players are that they increase the set. The average player at home, I've played with them, they're my buddies, they get up to the top and they start everything down. There's no separation between lower body and upper body. They go up to the top and they start down the same. What tip can you give the viewer at home to get that separation, that increase the set in your wrists?
Well, one of the great ways is how I started in college. When you get to the top, just slap that leg against that wall.
That's what Hogan did right there.
You feel that a few times and you're off to the races and you get the transition, but actually start real short, because the shorter you make, this is a 6-iron, but the shorter you make the golf swing, the easier it is to feel that transition, to be able to feel that lower body work first. If you're trying to do this with a driver, it's really difficult to get that feel, but if you get like a short iron, you should probably do it with a wedge. As you're getting hip high, start the downswing. It's a visual, you know, and I think visually, if you got to pick a spot, maybe when your hands reach your foot or when they reach hip high, you want to start thinking about coming down. I think if you create a visual that works, if it's starting down at hip high, you have that visual every day, Brandel. It'll never change. So keeping your arms in front of your body is really keeping your left elbow pointing at the ground on this side of the ball and on this side of the ball. And no matter how far you go, if I square back up, I'm still right in the center of my body.
Welcome back with Paul Azinger. Impact. It happens in an instant. It's gone. You might think players don't think about it, but some of the best do. You did.
Yeah, I had to. I because of my grip, I thought about knuckles up at impact. You know, with my left hand. I wanted my knuckles to face the sky at impact. You hear guys would supinate, which is like rotate down like that. Man, you can't think like that if you hold it the way I did, Brandel. So my goal was to try to be knuckles up at impact, and you can see footage of me where I'm like this. People thought I hit a hang-on block, but nothing could be further from the truth. I tried to release it. My hands didn't turn over till very late though. And but I could, you know, golf swing takes a 1.5 seconds and it's a ballistic move. There's a lot of speed going on. There's a lot of torque. And you try not to, you know, you give up control to get control. But I did try to control that hand and I guess the club face.
Put us in your impact position and tell me where your weight is. Where is it? How much is on your left foot?
You know, my head moved around too, right? We were
it did, right? I mean, your head didn't stay in a box.
No, it didn't. And I see guys, Fred Couples' head will never move out of that box, but my head moved up and out of that box. And Henrik Stenson's head moves up and out of that box. Annika was like this. Larry Mize was like this. These are major winners, great players. My goal was to be cleared out of the way and have my knuckles facing the sky in my mind at impact. So
let's see. Let me just see where you are. Just mirror impact. Like if I just said I want to take a photo of you at impact, where are you? Where's your hips? Where's your weight?
I would think I would be kind of
right there.
That's how I wanted to look.
And so okay, your left hip's out of the way. Yeah. Most of your weight's on your left side. Where would a 20 handicap be? A 35?
Well, I think generally they're probably their lower body's probably pretty square. And their upper body can be, you know, too square and falling back. You know, I see a lot of amateurs will fall back and in the end, even when they hit a good shot, their chest is facing the hole. A good player, after he hits, for the most part, his chest is facing way over there because of all the rotation he gets. You know, Henrik Stenson is one guy though that doesn't do it. He'll rotate a little bit and then he finishes right here. You heard, you know, I think that one of the great keys, Brandel, is you hear these guys say about keeping your arms in front of your body. What does that mean? All that means is you keep your elbows attached. Jimmy Ballard loves this stuff. You keep your elbows attached to your body, your upper arms attached to your body. You're playing with a half a left arm, but your elbows have to point to the ground on this side of the ball. And when you turn square back up, your arms are in the center of your body. When you hit, your elbow should be down. And when you square back up, you're back in the center of your body. If you chicken wing like this, you square back up and your arms are off to the side. So keeping your arms in front of your body is really keeping your left elbow pointing at the ground on this side of the ball and on this side of the ball. And no matter how far you go, if I square back up, I'm still right in the center of my body.
I've heard you say that real genius is taking this game and making it simple. That's about as simple as it can get. There's no effort to keep that left arm straight, really, is there? You're just thinking about getting the elbows down, getting them down, which would help you release it, wouldn't it?
It's pretty easy, and if you have proper weight, if your weight shifts correctly while you're keeping your elbows down, you're gonna love the game of golf.
Well, I've loved spending this time with you. Well, I know you're busy, and it's so nice of you to give us this time.